Baby Caterpillar was tired all summer long. She had been traveling slowly through the green world where she lived, and feeding on the green leaf, the green near her home. Now autumn had come, and Mother Nature had given a holiday to the leaf, who put on their new dresses of red and gold and played tag with the breezes. Baby Caterpillar went to play too, but could not run so fast as the happy little leaf, and she grew very tired and thought she would take a nap. So she found a cozy place among the branches of a grapevine and made herself a soft silky blanket. Then she rolled herself away within it, and then in her queer little cradle went to sleep. One night late in the fall, Jack first came over the hill. He sped the cradle swinging to and fro and began to play rock with it, for he is a roguey little fellow and touches everything that comes in his way. But the warm blanket hid the little sliver so that Jack couldn't find her. By and by King Winter came, bringing beautiful snow blends to Mother Nature flower babies. He gently rocked the cradle as he passed and whispered, "Sleep, baby, sleep. You have no need of my blanks." At least spring came with the sunbeam, the beats and merits of other nature helpers. They awoke the flower from their long winter nap and called to the bird, and the brook they began their song. When they came to the little brown cradle, they stopped to rest, and baby Caterpillar began to get very warm under the thick blanket. She woke up and stretched herself, and her cradle broke, and she came out the great the spring bath. What a change! Instead of the old dingy dress that she wanted to sleep in, she now had a beautiful yellow one, and instead of crawling among the leaves and flew up and away into the sweet spring air to play with the sunbeams, and the little children called her a butterfly. So, Meg, you are talking about being in the military and you said you are a medic. Can you explain what that is? Yeah, so medic, which now I believe is called health care specialist. I always say it's kind of similar to being like a paramedic where it's not a full nurse job. I think nurses have more training like in civilian side nurse, but similar to paramedic where you have certain like minor procedure that you are trained to do and high level things that just an EMT like doing IVS, giving shoot and stitches and things like that. And you are trained because it's the military. You are especially trained for emergency situation and how to treat someone who has maybe some serious life-threatening wounds. So that's a medic. Wow, that sounds like a really difficult job. I mean, it's not typical that soldier's job. You must have had a lot of schooling and education. I had, well, everyone goes through the initial about 2.5 months like basic training, and that's more kinds of basic combat skill and physical training, that kind of thing. And then I have 4 month paths that to train to be a medic. So went through like emergency medical technician course, just like civilian side. I got certified with that, and then we had additional training for the military skill like IVS and emergency procedure, that kind of thing. Right? Can you explain what IV is? IV is an intravenous, like getting fluids into your body. So if you've been injured and you've lots of blood, of maybe you are dehydrated and you need some fluid in your body quickly, then we stick a needle into your vein, and then the fluids go in, and the needle come back out, but a little tube stay in, and then you can get fluid quickly that way. So anybody that's been the doctor know what always kind of the anxious moment when the nurse of the person who's going to stick the needle in. Were you good at doing that? So once I learned how to do it, I think I was pretty good and I actually enjoyed doing it. Not in a trivial way, but it was I guess because I was decent at it, that it was a part of my job that I enjoyed. But for myself, before we went to that training, I actually become dehydrated and needed to get an IV myself, and I was terrified because I really had not had that before in my life. And so the nurse was going to come, put the needle in my arm, and I was like, no, isn't there another? I will just drink a lot of water. And she was saying, aren't you going to be a medic? And I was like, oh, I haven't a training yet. Don't do it. So yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was recently in the hospital and they had me strapped up for both blood and for the water and intravenous drip. And it's annoying because you cannot really move. Like if you want to get up and walk anywhere, you are strapped with all the three stops, and it's not very convenient. Yeah, or at least you have to careful. When I was getting the IV, I didn't know that the needle does not stay in your arms. No, for something it does. For blood, maybe it's different. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I was trying to be so careful too. But you still want it to go well, so you don't want to move very much, right? So what present take of people would you say freak out when they get the needle? Probably 90% or 95%. Oh really? Yes, even dog army gas wolves come in and they be like, oh, I'm fine in a bit. Well, we need to give you an IV, and they be like, oh right, yeah, nobody like that, no. So you transi so you transitioned. You were in the medical profession and then you moved to education. Why did you leave the medical profession for education? Yeah, that's interesting because I became a medic in the military because I took after I could continue college that I will be a nurse or a doctor, but my time serving as a medic helped we learn that was not what I want to do for my career after all. So I'm glad that I had to skill and the things that I learned and was able to experience, but I had English had kind of been on the back burner. And so then I said, okay, let me revisit this and led to English education. Wow. Have you ever talked about being like an English specialist for people in the medical field, like teaching doctor and nurses? I guess I haven't talked about the specifically. Sometimes I talk about going back to military. They do have something like English school in military, and so I guess that would be related. Also, it could be, yeah. So that would be interesting, something to think about. Part 3. What kind of home would he want to have? He want to have medium to large size home and have some land with the house. What would he like to live near? Because he like nature and wouldn't want neighbor. What do they talk about? The yard around the house. What does he want in his idle house? One room to himself for a library and maybe also a pool table. Retell that conversation with your own words, giving the detailed information. Mark wants to have land or a big house. He does not want to have neighbor, and if he gets married, he will let his wife the decorated part of the house, but want to have one room for library and lot of book and maybe also pool table.